Kept you waiting, huh? Ooh, shut up. Let's do this. I really like Metal Gear Solid. Yes, I played Metal Gear when it was on the Nintendo, but that was a bad port. So the very first time I actually played Metal Gear Solid, it was a demo at the mall, and I had no idea what the hell it was I was even doing. I couldn't figure out why the guards wouldn't stay down when I beat them up, or why I didn't have a gun. This was just a whole new experience for me, as I'm sure it was for anybody, even back on the Nintendo or anything like that, more especially then. Stealth action. And then, it's even funnier, the very first time I rented it, I got a bad copy, so it broke every single time I got to the Darba Chief. And I think when I rented it too, it only came on one disc. This is a third-person stealth action game, the third game in this series. You play as Solid Snake, the best of the best, retired and coerced into this operation of taking on these terrorists, special trained soldiers of his former unit Foxhound, with genetic enhanced soldiers. Rescue the hostages, the DARPA chief Donald Anderson, and the president of Arms Tech Kenneth Baker, and stop the terrorists. So when I heard that this was getting remade by the same developers, Silicon Knights, who did Eternal Darkness and Legacy of Kain Blood Omen, I was very excited. I believe I bought this when it first came out. I don't remember if I beat it, but I do remember I was a tad disappointed by it. Now, I am conflicted having replayed both of these from begin to end for comparison's sake, because there are some ideas in this remake that are pretty damn good, but there are also a lot of other things that have been redone or remade that I really don't like, especially when compared to this. So, to be fair, I will be pointing out some positives and negatives. So let's begin. You start out with nothing but a pair of binoculars, and you pick up items and weapons as you explore and play. Main point of the game is to avoid and hide from enemies. You have a radar system that shows you everything, but there are some areas with electrical interference that won't let your radar work. It works for showing soldiers, their vision cones, and surveillance cameras too. Because of the third-person, over-the-top camera, aiming with your gun is tricky. But the guns did have a semi-auto aim where if you hold the fire button, you would slowly aim at an enemy and then you could shoot at them. You have a first-person view mode, but it is rather pointless and worthless in the original. It serves no real purpose, maybe to see certain things. When looking for the hostage, the president of Arms Tech, because the wall that the area that they've held him in or moved him to has been walled up, but they didn't repaint it. You learn this from the first hostage, the Darba Chief, so the POV mode works for finding said wall, but that's about it. The problem is that you have no freedom of movement when you go into first person in the original. You either look up, down, left or right, no free movement, because no analog stick. So one big positive I will give to the remake is giving you more control in first person view mode. You have more control and movement and you can aim your gun. This is taken from Metal Gear Solid 2. It makes it much easier actually and even fun in first person to do gunfights, especially for the Revolver Ocelot boss fight. Also in MGS2 you could shoot at security cameras, so that's here as well. In fact, a lot of the new features that are in this remake are taken from Metal Gear Solid 2. You can walk instead of always running, you can search lockers and hide inside of them, hide soldiers inside, you can roll, hold up enemies, search their unconscious or dead bodies, you can lean around corners, and you can also use the tranquilizer gun. This was not originally in Metal Gear Solid. And climb over railings and over some objects. I do realize I'm bouncing around a lot from complaining to talking about positives. That's just kind of how my brain works, but I'm going to try and keep this focused. A big thing that really bothers me about the remake is the voice acting. Now, I do like that they brought back a lot of the original actors to return and re-record for their characters. However, aside from David Hayter, who plays Snake, and maybe a few others that play some boss characters, it is just bad.
It's Snake. I'm in front of the disposal facility.
Excellent, Snake. Age hasn't slowed you down one bit.
How's that sneaking suit working out?
I'm nice and dry, but it's a little hard to move.
Bear with it. It's designed to prevent hypothermia. This is Alaska, you know.
It's Snake. I'm in front of the disposal facility.
Excellent, Snake. Age hasn't slowed you down one bit.
How's that sneaking suit working out?
I'm nice and dry, but it's a little hard to move.
Bear with it. It's designed to prevent hypothermia. This is Alaska, you know.
Any emotion or energy is just gone. The Colonel sounds bored, Naomi comes off as dead or cold. I imagine maybe she was directed that way because of her character, but in this case, and with this performance, it comes off as she doesn't care. And others may disagree with me, but I don't like that they took away Mei Ling's accent.
Nice to meet you, Snake. It's an honor to speak to a living legend like yourself.
Nice to meet you, Snake. It's an honor to speak to a living legend like yourself. What's wrong?
She's a Japanese character. I think it added to her character. To me, some of these takes often feel like that they've been shooting all day and they decide to take one of the worst ones from a 3 a.m. take after several hundred and somebody decided, yeah, that's fine. The remake obviously had been remade from the ground up. New graphics and models. The game does look prettier, but I'm not really impressed by graphics. While it is nice, I care more about gameplay. The only thing I do wonder about is why they left the animation for the codec calls unchanged. In MGS2 they used 3D models, but for the remake they left it 2D. I do prefer the 2D, but oh well. So in the game, the common soldiers you have to sneak around are called the Genome Soldiers. Their hearing and sight is better. In the original, it's really nothing special. However, in the remake, it does make the game much harder. Now, they can hear your footsteps if you're pretty close or if you run over certain objects, flooring, and they can see you from pretty far away, so the starting area is made even harder. When you're so far away and crawling around under this entryway, and this asshole just sees me. The fuck? Really?
Huh? Who's there? Who's that? It's the enemy. I need help.
Upon retrospect, it does make you really take it slow and be smarter, if not better, about your movement and where you go. You may have played the original a lot and beaten it. You may know where everything is, the guard's routine. But now they're improved. And they will call for reinforcements, another feature from MGS2. And they do give you something to get around this pretty early on. The tranquilizer gun with a silencer. So that helps out a lot. But bodies can still be discovered or even wake up. But you can hide them, obviously, and if you trank or knock them out, they stay unconscious for quite a while. By the way, you're supposed to find the tranquilizer gun in the starting area in this locker, but I had one time where it was just on the floor by the elevator, but another time it was also underneath the truck in the second starting area. And another... I can't see anything while I'm wearing these. Yeah, another complaint I have is kind of about the GameCube controller. I like the GameCube, but it does have its flaws. Because of its controller, the commands are mixed up a bit and a tad confusing. Punching is the B button, choking, grapple, and picking up enemies is now the A button. But there's no animation for the choking. Not that I missed that or anything, but it helped in knowing what did what beforehand. Interacting with elevators, ladders, and scaling is now the Y button. The X button is still your crouch and your roll as well. To use the codec, whether answering a call or making one, you have to press the start and the A button. And there is no pause button either. Even the original Metal Gear Solid had a fucking pause button. Now, the big one. The cutscenes. Obviously, they changed and added quite a bit to the cutscenes, but I think they really overdid it, and unnecessarily so. Like this scene, when Snake first meets Meryl. In the original, it's simple. Meryl is shown to be scared with her gun shaking, and Snake taking advantage of that.
Is this the first time you ever pointed a gun at a person? Your hands are shaking. Can you shoot me, rookie?
In the remake, Snake disarms her and takes away her gun, but she takes it back. Now, I get what they're trying to do here. Sure, she's a rookie, but she knows how to stand up for herself. But it still just comes off as kind of pointless. Or another example, the first time that you meet the ninja. After you've beaten Revolver Ocelot and saved President Baker, in the original, the ninja appears, Ocelot loses arms, saves the president, you two have a bit of an exchange, and then he runs off.
Stealth camouflage. Can't you even die right? You were lucky. We'll meet again. Who are you? I like you. I have no name. That exoskeleton.
In the remake, well, just watch.
What? My hand! Stealth camouflage. Can't you even die right? You were lucky. We'll meet again. Who are you?
And like you, I have no name.
That exoskeleton.
Again, I get it. The ninja freaks out and attacks you. But this is just over-the-top Matrix-style action stupid bullshit. Just comes off as just utterly ridiculous. And I swear they stole this bit from Cowboy Bebop. An even stupider one is close to the end when you fight Liquid in Metal Gear Rex. But before you two fight, he has to talk on and on and on about genes and all this ridiculousness. This is about when, at least for me anyway, that the story from Metal Gear really just falls apart. I like Metal Gear Solid to a point, but yeah, its story, probably about over halfway, does get really, really stupid. Now, in the original, you two just talk. But in the remake, for some reason, he has to hop on the railing and starts walking across it.
Successful in coming into contact with all of us, so we must have all been exposed to the virus. It's true that the Arms Tech president and decoy octopus were killed by Fox Die.
Why? This is just parody now. For some reason, they felt the need to make some cutscenes extended and a tad longer. Like, for example, in the original torture scene, Sniper Wolf and you have this exchange.
Your woman is still in this world.
Meryl.
Catch you later, handsome.
And in the remake, they extend it and add all of this.
Your woman is still in this world.
Meryl.
Down!
Yes, they changed or added some dialogue, but for something like that, why not just change it entirely? Why did you even add this? It just comes off as pretentious. And in doing my research, I know that for the cutscenes, they actually had a Japanese director that was pretty well known for making these kind of films handle this specifically. And I don't like it. Hell, you have a scene where Snake hops off of a missile fired by Liquid's hind D to propel himself higher? Is this just meant to be silly? So why does the over-the-top Matrix stuff bother me? Well, because in some cases, the effect serves a purpose. Maybe it shows off a certain style or an effect to show off the speed or the technique, but there's none of that here. The only cutscene I think that they added a bit more to it is a little bit better is Sniper Wolf's death. It's established earlier on by her and Otacon that when the terrorists took over the base, she spared the wolf huskies being killed. So in the original, during her death, you hear wolves in the background howling.
I loved you. What is it?
My gun. Give it to me. She's part of me. Everyone's here now. Oh, okay, hero. Set me free.
And in the remake, the wolves actually come in and surround you as if in some sort of a ceremony. It's rather nice and sweet. I love these dogs, but I do not like this remake. Now, let's talk about the boss fights. Not much has changed in the remake except for the Ocelot gunfight with the POV. I think it's made easier. Also, you can hit the steam pipes behind him to stun or blind him, so that's pretty cool. So I give it points for adding a bit to that, but I understand the complaints of it being easier. In the original, it wasn't really hard, just tedious, because you're chasing him and trying to shoot him. The one difference in the ninja fight in the remake is you don't have to fight him while he freaks out with whatever he's doing here from the original. The Sniper Wolf fight, there are two of them, are made a tad more annoying because of the GameCube controller. It's just way too sensitive. You use B and X to zoom in and out, and every time she shoots you, it throws off your aim. That happens in the original too, but the aiming wasn't so annoying. You also have to deal with your aim wavering from your character's arm shaking, but you can take care of this by taking this pill item that you have that will stop your shaking for a bit. The big difference in the remake is that you can stand while shooting instead of always having to crouch to shoot. That's actually probably the biggest complaint about the remake, is the fact that despite the minor soldiers being a tad more effective in their job, so it's made a tad harder in a way, unless you have the tranquilizer gun, but the boss fights are made even easier. If you want a better example of this, you can check out Jack Don Surfer's video on Metal Gear. The link is in the description. He touched on shit that I didn't even think to touch on. The point of a remake is to improve a previous work. It's been done many times in every medium. Some work are sometimes way better than the original. Sometimes they aren't very good. Or at worst, they're awful and you wonder why they even bothered. I feel like the last one with Twin Snakes. Despite the little positives I brought up, there was nothing entirely wrong with the original Solid Snake. It delivered on its story and acting, the gameplay and stealth was pretty good, and the same for the boss fights. But the underwhelming voice acting, over-the-top cutscenes for me just make it hard to enjoy this and just make me groan. The gameplay is fine, if not annoying to frustrating. I love Metal Gear Solid. It's probably one of my favorite video games of all time. So this remake really, and I hate to say that it's a bit of a sore spot, but it's also one of those things, like so many others for everybody else, is very diversive. But considering it also didn't sell very well and it didn't review very well either, it's obviously no wonder why it's never gotten any sort of a re-release, HD or otherwise, much like with the Legacy Collection. If you are curious to check this out, you can, but in some cases, as I've seen on eBay or Amazon, it goes for ridiculously expensive prices, and I mean, it's not really worth it, at least not in my opinion anyway. If you want it far better, go with the original. Anyway, this has been a project in the long time coming. I hope that you guys enjoyed. This was a long road for me to make this, and I hope that you enjoyed. Please let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this video, please like or subscribe, and if you really enjoy my content, please support me on Patreon. I would greatly appreciate it. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Take care of yourselves.